Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps, Daily Teachings, Lotto Friday and Red Market Special. Before we start, quick disclaimer, anything we discuss is only for educational purpose, nothing is financial advice. Alright guys, tough day in the market, no denying that, but it was not a surprise, we knew this day is coming, we knew our VIX strategy, yields, what was happening with the SpaceX IPO, rumors of the funds, selling other stuff, investors taking profit on AI names, and the job market because of the job market. So there are many things. We will discuss all that. But the point here is that day like today, you don't need to destroy your account. You can actually grow your account if you follow my teachings. You with the shorts in the market, you can manage the risk and you can understand how to not destroy yourself even if you are not shorting. So we'll discuss all that. Just let's do a quick introduction before we start for anybody who's new to our X accounts, new to our YouTube, or new to our community. So we trade a repeatable system, Ripster Cloud System, which also includes all my teachings, psychological, mental teachings, and also technical teachings. My technical system, famous Ripster Cloud, MTF Cloud. Thousands of traders across the world use my teachings to trade, be it in my community or outside that. I've been teaching for over 8-9 years. You can go to ripstereducation.com, see how many lives my education has changed. And in my community, our community Tanner Trade Group, one of the largest online trading community, thousands of traders trading there. That's where we trade. We make a pre-market plan. I'll make a live plan. I was actually live all day. I was on live screen share today all day on this Friday. So we have this plan in the pre-market on all the stocks, news plays, earning plays, magnificent sevens, any upgrade, downgrades, and we follow the plan. Then we have a bunch of other plans. We have our day 2, day 3 strategy. We'll talk about it. We have some day 2, day 3 setups, and we play those day 2, day 3 setups, and then we also trade futures. Today was amazing day to trade futures. All you had to do was follow the levels. All you had to do was follow the levels there. So all you had to do was follow the Ripster clouds with these levels on futures. I will explain to you how we trade that in detail. And then of course, we have our daily level on Spike QQQ and Netflix and all that. So we have in the live community, there's 1,000 traders on our trading floor. I'm live. I'm live. I describe everything. What are we planning to do for the day? Day like today, especially because anybody in my community listening to me, I want to make sure they follow the system. So we have a lot of tools. We have option scanners, stock scanners, news bots, halt on holds, order flow. We have tools worth $600-700 per month, which are free for the traders to use. So I will not spend more time on introduction. If you want to know more, make sure you check Ripster Education. You can check Tanner Trade Group. Our third company is Tanner Research AI for investors and traders. You can check those out. Let me teach you how to handle a big red day. There's also a playlist that I tweeted today. You should watch that. So let's start with the day today. Especially if you struggle today, it's important you watch this video, and the next time the market sells off, you have these teachings with you so that you do not struggle and you actually make money when the market is selling off. Before I start to talk about how we shorted the market, how we were all day short, the traders in the community, literally made insane percentages, thousands of percent of trade. And it's not like we do not do PNLs, we do not do that, but just the power of the system, the power of my life-changing education. You can see that how traders are making those gains, insane profits, 1,000%, 300%, 200%. I'm not going to talk too much about lot options today. You can watch my other videos. 300%, 200, 400%. See, Paul is Raga is 400%. And mostly traders are green. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you need to be, if you're an active trader, especially if you're a day trader, you need to be able to short. And there's no better system to help you short than Ripster Cloud System. And even if you do not short, that's fine. Even if you do not short, do not destroy yourself buying the dips. Do not destroy yourself by the dips. If you're a long-term investor, that's fine. You have your preset levels where you want to buy a stock. That is completely different. If you're a swing trader, your stops hit like we were swinging Dell. We were on a Dell swing, and I told the traders that we are stopping out of Dell. We bought it at 406 yesterday. We trimmed some at 427 yesterday, and we got out, and we didn't add any other swing, right? So, and if that's different, and of course, the long-term portfolio is going to get hit. Our long-term portfolio from 25%, it's back to 16% because Reddit dipped, BE dipped, AOI kinds of, SoFi dipped. So, a bunch of our stocks were down, and that's fine. We don't mess, long-term trader, you don't mess with your long-term profile. Assuming you are buying on corrections, you buy on corrections as a long-term investor. You can't tell me that you are a long-term investor if you're buying NBIS at, if I go to the daily chart, and you're buying it at 270, 260, you're not a long-term investor, you're buying to 260, because guess what? A big correction, you will be down 50%. That's not how it works. A long-term investor buys on the base. Either if it's a bull chart like NBIS, like we have BE as a long-term. We bought at this breakout. That's 200. That's our average, 205. I'm not buying it a long term at 310. Without a system, you're buying the bases, you're buying the pullbacks to the EMAs. If I'm a SoFi long-term investor, I'm buying at 14, 15. I'm not buying at 19, 20 because I don't want to be down in a correction 30, 40%. So let's take the long-term conversation out. If you tell me you're a long-term investor and you're hurting today, the problem is your positioning in your long-term position, because you do not buy just randomly anywhere. That's not how it works. You need to have your risk. So as a long-term investor, you are watching your preset levels. You want to buy, that's fine. I'm interested in Circle, so I'll be keeping eyes where I want to buy it. If I'm watching Netflix, I'm interested to see if I want to buy long-term versus 75. That's fine. That's different. But if you're a trader, if you're a swing trader and you're buying the dips and at the open against the cloud, and then you get hit pretty hard, that's not what you do. So I'm not buying Intel here at 104 when VIX is rising, when the yields are rising, so because I know things can get bad, right? We'll talk about our shorts in a bit, but if the VIX is rising, yields are rising, why is market selling off? You need to understand that. You need to see the chart on SPY QQQ. You need to see that the SPY QQQ chart has been going up, 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 up. So multiple things happened today. So what happened today? Job report came insanely good. More jobs, more money to spend, prices, competitive prices, inflation goes higher, no reason to cut the rates, you increase the rates, right? What is VIX doing? VIX went higher. We'll talk about it. My famous VIX strategy. Look at the move on the VIX candle today, insane move. And then we have yields, right? When the yields rise, I did full article, you can read it. When the yields rise, the return on the bonds is much better than buying gold, silver, or trading stocks. So stocks sell off. You need to understand what's happening all over before going blindly and buying the dips. If you cannot do anything, you just follow the Ripster clouds. If I'm following the Ripster clouds, there's no dip buying today at all. Why is the Ripster cloud a life-changing system or indicator? Because it gives a high probability trade setups. I'm not buying this MTF breakdowns on Intel today, at least. Maybe I buy Monday, we'll see. And I'm stopping out. I'm stopping out of my swings. Look at that. Dell was working out nicely, broke the clouds and all the way down under the 1 hour MTF, fading. You have to analyze your daily charts, breaking a key level. I can go about examples and examples and examples. NVIDIA, the MTF magnet, from MTF to the MTF. I'm not buying it if there's the QQQs are dumping, VIX is going, yields is going. There is no reason to buy. You think it's a dip until it gets deeper. That's why I teach my traders. We call this D- setups when we are trying to bounce against the clouds. I have done the mistakes. I've lost 7 figures trying to buy against the clouds over the years. So I teach. So my teachings, nobody get bagged. I don't let anybody under my guidance, like I show you today, to get back, right? Because the mindset is that we try to buy the dips, and it's been a bull market, everything bounces. But a day like today, you buy the dips, the dip don't work, you stop out, you buy again, doesn't work, you average in, you keep loading a more, and then you get destroyed. Because guess what? This time the dip doesn't work. Dip might work 6 times. The one time it doesn't work, it wipes everything out. Wipes your monthly gains, weekly gains. So you need to have a system when you buy the dip. If I'm buying a dip of the 50, 55 MTF, I'm fine. But if it's not working, I'm out, right? I was watching Rocket Lab, but I know I will probably wait for 100. It was MTF to the MTF. Under MTF, I do not touch it. Look at the Ripster Clouds all day, red. Right? Even the sectors which were strong, once they broke the Ripster Clouds right here, AOI was strong, one of our long-term position, we didn't touch it long. There's no long here. There is no long here. You buy here, you revenge trade. It messes up your psychology over in your head. You start revenge trading, you lose, you trade buy more dips, you size, and then day like today, it's a big vicious cycle. You keep going down. Or you try to buy the dips doesn't work. You try to short, big size, it pops, you panic, it cuts, and then it falls further. Neither your shorts are working, neither long is working, because your psychology is all messed up. It all started with going against the system. All you had to do was to just follow the Ripster Clouds, MTF Clouds, 512 Clouds, right? So that's what I'm going to show you today, how, and you could make money there. You're literally a SPY, or you could trade leverage ETF long, SPY puts, whatever you want to like to trade. Literally, if you traded that, you could have done much better. $1,000 turned into $10,000 today, because look at the move on SPY. All right. So next time, I can keep talking a lot about it. Your mindset that trade the trend, make rules. I do not buy. We were trying to buy here, we were watching here, but when SPY failed, it was a re-short. Because the day, and differentiate between a long-term investor, or a swing trader, or a day trader. First differentiate that. Especially if you're a day trader, today was the day only to short. If you're a swing trader, today was the day to wait. If you're an investor, depends where your levels are. You have to find your levels. Like I explained you with examples of Circle and Nvidia. You have to find your levels as a long-term investors. And you don't panic if you're buying from the lows. Long-term investors, I guess you hold for 1 year for your tax benefits. You do have, you don't get in and out. So anyways, that was the introduction, how to handle a day like today. Hopefully that helped. If you have any question, DM me please. And then let's start with the recap of the day. All right, guys, let's start with SPY QQQs and see how we were doing there. Okay, so let's see what the plan on SPY QQQ. So you see that in the pre-market planning, which I make live, I told everyone market is gapping down due to tech earnings. Also, I missed a part where the jobs were good. Job report was really good. So when job report is good, like I explained to you earlier, it's strong. There's no reason to cut the rates. Inflation can go higher because people have more money to spend. The prices, the more people will buy. Supply, demand. Prices go higher, no reason to cut. So that was the one reason. The yields were going higher because yields were expecting rate cuts. So, yields go higher because if rates do not get cut, you get returns there. So yields were higher. VIX. So I told that VIX is super important today. Yields needs to break back under 450 for market to bounce. SPY QQ both bearish, no basing. Today was no basing, simply low. Watch any rotation. Only long if VIX and TNX pull back. Only long if VIX and TNX pull back. And what happened? Neither of really pulled back. We had some pullback on TNX middle of the day. So even if you blindly followed this plan and you just short it, at least you didn't, even if you're looking for longs, you followed this plan, that would have worked for you. And I tweeted about this. It's not that, I always try to teach, all my teachings are free, 99%, and I try to alert my my followers as well. If you see that, I said yields are going crazy, VIX is testing 16, watch both to fade if you want another bounce day. That's simple, right? So anyways, let's talk about what we did today. So as soon as I saw the market weakness here, you can see that VIX is holding 16. I saw that and I told the traders it's a short 512 short, move the stops, break even. We saw a 10 a.m. bounce. Remember, 10 a.m. bounce, there was no call, didn't go over 512 clouds. I told the traders, I was on the voice, I told the traders it's a bear flag. Bear flag, right? So let me show you here. That was bear flag, no long, bear flag, right? So there's no long, it's a bear flag, QQQ, SPY, all the bear flags. Guess what? Bear flag breaks, boom, MTF magnet hit. That's your next target. MTF breaks, boom, there is no low. You do not buy the dips. And there's my timestamp guidance. We keep moving the stops lower. And even it's not only that, I kept tweeting about it as well. If you go to my Twitter account, I kept tweeting about that we're going lower on that SPY QQQ. You can see that, my guidance, right? So you could literally, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's same thing we do all the time. That I showed you my traders are making 1000% returns. All you had to do is you could trade leverage ETF, you could trade SQQQ long, buy 39, take it to 43, ride the clouds, $1,000 risk, make 3 grand, done for the day. You could trade ES futures short them, ride the clouds, short again, 512 clouds, take it all the way. And that's the reason of success of my students or my traders. Because we do not guess, we do not trade blindly. Our system is what it does. And I'm not asking you to pay me anything for the system. You can just, the Ripster clouds are free. Use it. Use this teaching. But that's what we do in our community. That's what I was on the voice all day. That's what I talked about all day. So there's many ways to make money. You could buy puts on QQQ there, and let's look at the QQQ puts. If you're an option trader, let's say you bought just a lotto, 100% lotto. When you buy 100 lottos, it's 100% risk. 720 puts went from like $2 to $19, $200 to $2,000. Even if you don't hold all the way, you roll, you can still turn your $1,000 to 10 grand. Look at that. All you had to do was hold with the clouds and not try to buy the dips. Never, 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 never buy the dips. A day like today is going to come again. If you try to buy the dips against the cloud, you will get destroyed. It's a D minus bounce. I teach it again and again and again and again and again that do not buy against the clouds. That's not what you want to do, right? And always use the clouds, MTF clouds, follow those levels, right? So anyways, this was SPY QQQ, ES futures, everything short, big winner for today. The big thing is, in my community, the traders were not getting, the traders told me today that if they were in any other community, they would have lost so much money there. Because I promise one thing, I don't promise millions. Under my guidance, nobody gets bagged on a day like today, right? Even I tweeted, and not only that, I tweeted 100 times, do not buy the dips, because I know somebody out there is buying his lotto options is on $10,000 account, which can go to $2,000 because he's trying to buy the dips on lotto options, right? No dip buying today. No dip buying today. Remember, day like today, even if it's a 1 day, but the problem is the 1 day like today will wipe your months, weeks. Because it's not just one wrong trade, it's the revenge trading, it's the mindset, it's the psychology which will take you down a big vicious cycle, right? So anyways, we'll see what happens on the SPY QQQ on Monday. Follow the VIX, follow the yields, and let's go to our next trade recap. All right, so next one we're going to look at is, let's take a look at the next one that we're going to take a look is all the crypto. Yeah, crypto. Man, there's nothing too much to talk about them anyways. MSTR is always our Friday play. Trade with Bitcoin, bearish buys. That was the pre-market plan. Gave it half an hour before the market open. MSTR always the best short if you want to short it. But everything MSTR, short all day. Kind of curled here. We stopped out, but gave another flush. Hood. Or long-term position as well, but MTF magnet, short. You can see that I told the traders are short, and I was on the voice all day, and I was just talking about the shorts all day, right? So all day you can see that short MSTR, crypto shorts, PL short, just short, right? So I was just talking about the short and just short all day. All right, so yeah, MSTR was short, all the circle MSTR hood, all you had to do was just ride the clouds. We saw this 10 AM bounce. Remember the concept of 10 AM bounce. you will get the bounce. But if you see that VIX is not really doing anything, still holding strong, you see this flag breakout on VIX right here, so we're gonna stay heavy, right? And you see this is the MTF cloud here, we're gonna stay heavy, the MTF magnet. Or even if you shorted 1,000 shares of wood here, let's say you're shorting, right, put stops over 85.50, 1,085, and takes you to 82, you make 3 grand right there, right? So just have to ride the clouds, guys. Look at this. I can't say more than that, but I try. Even if the one person who is watching this video follows these teachings, he can save, change his life. That's why I'm spending my time here on Friday night to teach you guys this, because I know a lot of traders are still struggling out there. All right, so let's go to the next video, next recap here. We're going to talk about Tesla. So Tesla was pretty interesting today. Tesla today was a long first, right? It's a pretty scammy what these guys did here at the JP Morgan. So JP Morgan upgrades to neutral 475, right? And then so that's why we had a Friday play, because it was our MTF long. So I actually gave this long first, but we stopped out right away. I took a loss of $3 or $4, I don't remember, few $1,000s there. But guess what? I told the traders now that Tesla is short. Once you're out of, I told them, once we got out of that, I told them that get the short. I told them watch the pops, shorted Tesla, super duper heavy. I don't have to prove that. I'm just, because you are not in the community, so you wouldn't know that. So I'm just showing you my transcript of my voice as well. So my target I gave was 400 on the short, and I said we do not long it. So first target is all of the MTF magnet, and I think RGV was also guiding all the short on Tesla here. So he had a I think he has a pretty good entry. Yeah, so you could see that he had a 419 entry. And I also mentioned that if you have a hard time going short, you just inverse your charts. Just inverse them. Invert your chart. Look at that. Ripster, MTF cloud. So when the MTF cloud is so strong, guys, once MTF rejects, that's it. And then it broke also the 50-55 MTF. All day you had to do is short, roll, short, roll. And I'm not just saying after the fact. This we do live in the community, right? We were long, that's fine. But if I lost $1,000, I made $10,000 on the short, right? So that's kind of the trade that you really want to do. And you can see that 400 target. And then I told the traders that if we break 400, we're going to go much lower. Power of the MTF cloud. We kept lowering the stops to 394. Just even if you had one, and you could trade TSLQ long. It's a many ways to make money on such names. TSLQ long from the MTF clouds to the MTF clouds. Look at the power of the cheat code. What I invented is life changing. Just use this, especially if you're a trader. So the point here is if you just had to ride that. Let's say you lost, on your lot option on the long. All you had to do is, just buy a $400 put from $2 to $13, 2,000 to 10,000. Again, power of the Ripster cloud. Even the options ride the Ripster clouds. You can see that. And we are not, this is the reason we are one of the largest trading communities online, because we don't BS, we are not an alert service. I teach the real system that works, and we care for our community members like family, so that everybody is on the right side. Even if you are not shorting, that's fine, but you should not be buying Tesla long. Imagine how much money you would have lost if you're just buying Tesla long, right? So anyways, so that was Tesla. Let's look at the next one. I could literally go through all the names today. I told you could literally short anything. If you look at our watch list here, you could literally short anything. Crypto, all the Hearties, iron, RGTI, NBIS, literally just everything was following the clouds. NBIS, look at that, following the clouds, right? IONQ following the clouds. ASTS following the clouds. Look at this ASTS all day. Look at this. MTF to the MTF to the MTF all day long. What do? You do not buy. You short, right? So I could literally talk about any names, and I can probably, this recap will be 1 hour long. That's not the point. The point is, the day like today, you stick to short, but I'll cover a few of the names, then we'll cover a few of the longs here. All right, I'm just going to talk about Micron. The Micron was also a short. I told the traders to short the Micron short, because the reason I was focused on Micron, because Micron has been a crazy runner, and I really thought that we will get a big range, and did happen. Initially our short 10 a.m. bounces, we stopped a little bit, and then again this is called 512 rejections, and you see where does it end, from 940 to 850, $100 to the MTF magnet. Here's my timestamp guidance, short, literally life-changing money in a single day. You could make it, right? What did SNDK do? SNDK also short, went from MTF to the MTF magnet. You can take literally hundreds of examples there. Anyways, there was not all long shorts, there was some longs too. Lily was a long. Initially we longed Lily, it broke the clouds. Let me show you. It broke the clouds, and we longed it again, and I said long again right here, and it was on our pre-market plan. Why was Lily on our pre-market plan? Morgan Stanley says overweight 111344. Whenever Morgan Stanley says something, you pay attention. If it was a bullish day, Lily was going probably to 1200. So what did we long the curves here? I told the traders at 958 right here, long it, and I gave the targets of I think 1165. We hit the target. You know, we made almost $20 per share profit. Broke 512. We exited that. All right. So next look at and then we had Lulu, our earning play. I'm just going through some earning plays here. So Lulu was a long. Why was it a long? It was a 512 curl right here, and it was also on our game plan here. Let's take a look, and everything is in the pre-market game plan. Lulu bearish bias as long as under 113, but it pushed over that 111, 113, and that's when it became long. Right, 933. I told the traders to long. I gave the target of 115. We hit 116. You risk $1,000, make $2,000. That's it. You're done for the day there. And where were other running plays as well? There was this PL space sector. Watch 39 to hold. Bearish right now. So PL also was a nice fade there under the MTF clouds again. The power of the MTF clouds. All right, guys, didn't want to take a too much recap. Literally, it was an amazing day for the community. Yes, it was a tough day for swings, for the you know, our long-term investors. But if you understand what I teach as an active trader, you'll do much better. You'll lose less, small, and win big. All right. Take care. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.